Nick Chuquette and David Cook here from the Arbitrage Blueprint. We've got a video today on bookkeeping, and I know it's it feels like a dirty word because it's not that much fun to do, but it's important. And I think Nick and I would both agree that the longer we've been in business, the more we've realized how important it actually is. And it's really a fundamental thing, just like, keeping track of your inventory and how much you have. And it really helps you to, I think what we're going to talk about today is kind of one, the functional aspect about it and how you do it properly, but also what it enables you to do with decision making. So I'll turn it over to you, Nick. I mean, I know Nick kind of does Nick doesn't have like the warehouse that I have. Like, he does a lot of his stuff from home, so he needs really a more simple solution than I do. So I'll kind of turn it over to you on like how you do yours, Nick, and so forth.
Yeah, numbers and bookkeeping always a little overwhelming for me. Not something I enjoy doing. So in the beginning, I avoided it for a long time, and I really didn't realize the impact that it had. Now that we do bookkeeping and we look at our numbers and what products are performing well and what products are bringing in the most profit. So now it just allows us to make better decisions for the business as a whole. So it's so much more than just bookkeeping, right? Like, that's what I didn't realize in the beginning. I thought it was just like, for taxes and accounting, and like it is that, but it can do so much more for your business. So like if you're someone who doesn't like bookkeeping, or maybe you like it, but you just don't know what to do because there's a lot of options out there, just keep it simple and use Inventory Lab. They will put together a really good profit and loss statement for you. You can add expenses there. They break it all down for you. They pull all the stuff in from Amazon. And that's something that you can reasonably expect yourself to figure out, without having to hire a professional or consult with someone, because you can just chat with Inventory Lab support if you have a question and figure out how to use their software. But what really worked for me was just depending on the buy list, right? When you're out scanning or you're online scanning, get everything into a buy list and throw it into Inventory Lab. You've got all your cost of goods tracked, and then just let the software do the work. So, that's a good starting point, in my opinion. Obviously you can get more advanced with it, and you might have to if you're in like David's position. So if you're someone who has a bigger operation, a warehouse, maybe you got a few employees, then you probably want to take his perspective a little more, and take it even more seriously. What does your bookkeeping look like, David, with everything you've got going on?
Yeah, so I'll kind of give my backstory, and I think Nick kind of was alluding to this. Is the first 2, 3, 4 years I was in business, I would basically do my bookkeeping in January, and I had like GoDaddy bookkeeping, which is a very rudimentary solution, and it wasn't very good, honestly. And
I forgot about GoDaddy. I actually used to use GoDaddy bookkeeping. I forgot.
Yeah, it was okay, but it was just like there was no checks and balances. Like you even have an Inventory Lab, and so I was using that, and even when I got into the warehouse here, I was using that, and then like eventually, like I just got so fed up of like spending 4 days straight trying to reconcile everything, and even when I was done, not knowing whether or not I got the the end number right for profit, that I ended up hiring a contractor to or another company to basically do our bookkeeping 1 year, and then even once we had hired somebody, they even said, okay, you need to get somebody in-house, because I've got really 2 companies now that kind of interact with each other pretty closely. I've got like a warehousing logistics company, and then like our e-commerce sourcing company. And so us now, we've got like, I've got a bookkeeper that is kind of on our staff, and he works 20 to 25 hours a week, does some other stuff other than bookkeeping. But for us, like, now I've got a monthly meeting with him on the profit and loss from the previous month, and balance sheet, and all of these things, like Nick was saying, that I didn't appreciate before, because I didn't realize how these products could actually enable decision making. Like Nick was saying, like when you see the list of your top 10 products, and you realize, if you don't see that list, you could very easily like just forget to source 3 of them.
Yeah, and it could be like you could miss out on a lot of profit. I mean, thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So for me, it was like, do I want to take on this additional cost of bookkeeping? But now that I have it, it's really not a cost at all. It really enables a lot of profit centers to continue operating. And again, at the end of the year, theoretically, I should just be able to take the work that's already been done in the year, print it off, and take it to my accountant. And I don't have to spend that time myself doing it, probably incorrectly anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what ours looks like. I mean, we use QuickBooks, and we use Inventory Lab a little bit, like to come up with cost of goods sold throughout the year. We pull all that off Inventory Lab. So yeah, that's kind of what ours looks like. We had a really good situation with the last place where they kind of hired the person, or they kind of trained the person that was going to take over my books. But yeah, so that's been the big takeaway for me, is just the numbers enabling decision making, and then also just like really having a clear cut number at the end of the month, that how much taxes you need to save and things like that. So that's kind of 2 ends of the spectrum. And I don't know if Nick, if you want to add anything else to it, but there's Nick's even got he's got a space that he rents, and he still thinks Inventory Lab is a good solution. And I think the big takeaway is just putting the correct importance on it as a business owner, and making that one of your priorities on things that you really focus on and make sure are like a fundamental thing in your business.
Yeah, I think the key is just, starting somewhere, tracking something. If you're doing well and things get out of hand, you can always hire someone at the end of the year if you need to, if you feel like it. So there's always an option available to you, and that's not necessarily a bad place to be in, right? Like business was so good, you got overwhelmed and, didn't do your books. Like, all right, you can bring in a professional for that and they can handle it for you. Other options are services like bench accounting, and I know there's some other ones out there as well.
Yeah, I used Accounting Wheel Go. I had a great time with them. They were awesome. But yeah, you bring up a good point, Nick, like about getting a process and just investing yourself into it. Like now I feel like I can look at a profit and loss statement, or and be able to shoot holes in it, where 3 years ago, if I hadn't taken the time to like really understand it, and just by making it a priority, you start to understand it. And yeah, I mean, you can like you do most of yours internally, right? I mean, at the end of the month. Yeah. So yeah, that's like a big thing, to just be able to understand that and use it going forward. So, okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so, man. I think that's some good info, check out those programs, Inventory Labs. That's really just such a great piece of software for arbitrage people, in my opinion.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and check out our other videos on how to grow your online arbitrage business. Thanks.